The U.S. has imposed new sanctions against Iran over its recent missile test. The U.S. Treasury Department says the sanctions target 13 people and a dozen companies. The individuals include 8 Iranian, 3 Chinese, a Bosnian, and 2 Lebanese nationals. A U.S. official has said Iran's, quote, continued support for terrorism and development of its ballistic missile program pose a threat to the region. Iran has yet to comment on the measure. To discuss that, we're now joined by Jim W. Dean, who is the managing editor and columnist at Veterans Today, and he's joining us live now from Atlanta. Mr. Dean, how do you react to these additional sanctions placed on Iran?
I think really it's good news because these are actually sanctions light. They're just on individuals and companies, and they're not on industry-wide things like banking or challenging some of the big Boeing deals or oil or access to the banks. So what this appears to is Trump's trying to throw something out there for the Republican critics in Congress to kind of acknowledge that, but they've done nothing to really upset Iran's turnaround with its economy, its oil exports, and being able to do all of these business deals on a general basis. Because the EU, of course, you can't tell the EU that they're going to disallow all of those business deals going on. So the key thing you have to watch for sanctions, if they were the U.S. was going to start using the banks to block all of the big deals. In other words, doing a strangle thing on Iran's recovery, and he hasn't touched that in a way. So that's the good news. And then Iran, of course, has a number of things that it can do to respond to this, which is to challenge Israel's nuclear force once again, which also is a huge threat to the region, which the U.S. has no problem with whatsoever.
Mr. Dean, you know, veteran Iranian politicians would say that this proves what they've been saying all along, that the United States never really had a problem with Iran's nuclear energy program, but it's with the Islamic Republic itself and the fact that it doesn't bow to the U.S.'s will in the region, et cetera, et cetera. This does, in a sense, prove that, right? Because many people saw this coming from a mile away.
It does in a way, but there's another very obvious background to this, and that is the major allies for the U.S., including Saudi Arabia, where we've had a very, very close relations to, and they're having their oil sold, making the deal to sell all of their oil in dollars has helped keep the U.S. dollar over all these decades about 25% higher than it normally would have been. So part of this is they're pandering to the Saudis to keep them in the game. This is a long-time agreement that was made that they don't want to make public. But that's changing also because Kuwait was in Iran not too long ago, wanting to improve relations. And we're seeing a shift there that if that continues, that's going to eliminate this fear that some of the Gulf states have that Iran is a threat to the area. They're realizing now that this proxy terrorism monster, this Frankenstein that they have let loose, is the biggest danger, and that hopefully will change their thinking about Iran. Because Iran, being in the Syrian coalition and with the Russians, are the major anti-terrorist force in the world now. No one is doing anything that can even touch what they're accomplishing in terms of fighting terrorism.
Okay, Mr. Dean, we'll leave it there at that, but of course, as always, we appreciate you sharing your insight with us.